That's right, a silver scoop time. And our first scoop is going to make longtime comedy fans very happy because after 25 years of mustaches, maple syrup, and some of the worst police work Vermont has ever seen, the Super Troopers are officially back. Now, before we get into this new film, we do need to take it back as a refresher as to why this is such a big deal this weekend. So, the original Super Troopers, guys, came out all the way back in 2001, and what's funny is that this was actually never supposed to become some huge Hollywood franchise. Now, this movie was made for less than $3 million by a group of college friends who formed the comedy troupe Broken Lizard. So, the film itself followed 5 Vermont state troopers who spent more time playing pranks on drivers and competing with the local police department than doing their actual jobs.
In this town, you don't mess with the law.
You know how fast you were going?
65.
63.
The law messes with you.
Isn't the speed limit 65?
Yeah, it is.
I'm freaking out, man.
Yeah, double bacon cheeseburger.
Double bacon cheeseburger. It's for a cop.
You gonna spin it now?
No, I was just telling him that so he makes it good. Don't spit in that cop's burger.
That scene is one of the most iconic scenes from the film. So it was ridiculous, it was completely inappropriate, and unlike, almost anything else playing in theaters at the time, which is what made it so unique and everybody loved it. So the movie ended up making about $23 million at the box office, but it actually became an even bigger hit once people discovered it on DVD and started sharing all of its most famous lines.
Super Troopers. Mm-hmm. Was that as fun to work on as it looked?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, listen, I didn't know them at all, and they were a comedy troupe. They had seen, actually, the Exorcist scene is why I got the job. Because Jay Chandrasekhar was directing, and he saw the movie, and he's like, well, she can do that. She can come play with us and be a cop or whatever. So he offered it to me. I feel like throughout my career, sometimes you get offers for little indies, and they have no money, and it's usually like maybe not the best script ever. And I was reading it just like laughing out loud the entire, it was very much on the page. I sent it to one of my best friends who's a comedy writer who's like very similar sense of humor, and he was like, you have to do this movie.
And that's how you know something is good, when you are literally reading it in script form, just writing, just words. There's nothing else out there. You don't know the actors. You don't know what they look like, their facial expressions, which is a lot of comedy, right? Doing physical comedy is a big part of this film as well. So you're not even seeing any of that. And if you are laughing out loud just reading it, yeah, you gotta do the film because you know that writing is so good. Then imagine all the other bells and whistles that are added onto the project after, how much better it's going to get. So I think that was a really good decision on her part. So guys, even if you have never watched the original movie or the entire movie, you may have heard someone say, the snozberries taste like snozberries, or attempt to use the word meow into a conversation as many times as possible. You guys remember, right? Here's what I mean.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
I'm sorry, are you saying meow?
Am I saying meow?
I thought you...
Don't think, boy. Now, do you know how fast you were going? Now, what is so damn funny?
I could have sworn you said meow.
Do I look like a cat to you, boy? Am I jumping around all nimbly-bimbly from tree to tree?
No.
Am I drinking milk from a saucer?
No.
Am I drinking milk from a saucer? It's just, you're gonna start quoting it. You are gonna start quoting it. And the snozberries line, right? It's a little same, but different in comparison to Willy Wonka, right? They got it from there, but Willy wasn't having the kids lick the back of cop car windows. No, at least the wallpaper tasted like fruit, or so he says. And of course, guys, there is the maple syrup chugging scene, which the cast now admits was actually not the healthiest decision they ever made. Yeah, I could have told you guys that one.
Never again.
Chugging maple syrup.
Never again.
Is that the one you regret the most, putting the maple syrup in there because now everybody wants
That
to chug?
one really almost killed us.
So it was real maple syrup.
Yeah.
It was.
I drank 2.5, and I made him drink 3.5 because I'm like, you don't have it yet. Well, let's do another couple takes. And afterwards, I mean, we at lunch, we laid down in the dark in my trailer and just shook. And for the entire 30 minutes, just shook.
Guys, make it make sense. They could have put anything else in there. You had to do the real maple. You know how sugary it is? That is so much sugar. No wonder they were shaking. That is crazy. That's a behind the scenes fact I had no idea about. Now, the movie developed such a loyal fan base that when the group wanted to make Super Troopers 2, the fans actually helped pay for it. That is right. Broken Lizard launched a crowdfunding campaign in 2015 with a goal of raising $2 million. And they reached that goal in just over 1 day and eventually collected more than $4.5 million from over 42,000 supporters. That's big. Here is actually a news report from that time just to show you how big the story was. The Super Troopers 2 was coming out.
Super Trooper 2's Indiegogo campaign has pulled in more than $4.4 million. The campaign fell just shy of the live bears in the movie stretch goal of $4.5 million. But more than 50,000 people contributed funds to the total tune of $4,444,000 US dollars. The Indiegogo campaign secured $2 million in just its first 24 hours. Super Troopers 2 is now the second most successful crowdfunded film behind 2013's Veronica Mars Kickstarter campaign. Pre-production for the Super Troopers sequel is set to commence in May. It's been 14 years since the release of the original movie, which is way too long to go without Farva and Car Ramrod.
Okay, so side note, that was filmed, this news hit was filmed 11 years ago, and I don't know why, but that seems like a lifetime ago, but also it doesn't at the same time, right? I don't know, time is just, it's just strange, my friends. I'm always trying to wrap my head around it, but it's just very strange. Well, the sequel finally arrived in 2018, 17 years after the original, and now fans have only had to wait another 8 years for the third one. And honestly, by the standards of this franchise, that is practically a quick turnaround, right? So let's get into this third installment, which comes out today. Super Troopers 3, that's right, it reunites the entire Broken Lizard crew, and everyone is back.
So seeing this original cast come together for another installment of this just gives me so much joy. The original director of the first film and second film is coming back to do this third film, and pretty much the entire OG cast is coming back for this third installment, which again, just can't help but get me giddy. We also have some new faces. Like, I love that Chase Crawford is gonna be in Super Troopers 3. There's not much of a synopsis. We don't know what this installment is gonna be about. I've tried and looked everywhere. It just says third installment in the franchise.
Well, don't worry, my friend. I have you covered. I have the scoop for you, because this time the chaos is going to start with something even more dangerous than a high-speed chase. A family wedding. Because Farva is engaged to Thorny's sister, Sarita, played by Hannah Simone. Now, if you know anything about Farva, the character, you will already understand why Thorny is not exactly celebrating this news, because Farva's loud, obnoxious, unpredictable, and usually the last person anybody would choose to welcome into their family. So, while Farva prepares for a huge and very over-the-top Indian engagement celebration, Thorny starts working behind the scenes to break up the relationship before the wedding can happen. But this is still Super Troopers, guys, so the guys also have an actual police investigation to deal with. You know, a dangerous new drug ring has arrived, and the troopers somehow have to take it down while managing the engagement, Thorny's schemes, and Farva being, well, Farva. Here's some of the trailer.
Watch it, Farva! Is it possible we're no longer the cool guys in our own story?
Okay, Farva, time to pick your snake.
This guy's actually kind of cute.
That shows you who Farva is. He says to the snake that, yeah, this is a cute one right here, and then you see what happens. You guys can just tell who this guy is just from that. So guys, this third movie also shows us that time has moved forward for this group, even if their maturity levels have not. Their station is getting its first electric police car, which becomes a major part of the story, and Captain O'Hagan is struggling with the idea of retirement. But despite all of those changes, the troopers are still wearing the uniforms, they're sporting the mustaches, and finding new ways to create problems for themselves.
Give to you
Our first electric patrol car.
Exactly. I think that's how a lot of people are feeling when they're like, wait, I have to plug something in? Wait, what if I forget to charge it? No, I know that it's smooth and it's nice and I like it, but are we really gonna trust these cops with charging this car? I don't think so. And what makes this reunion even better is that these actors are not just co-workers who get back together whenever a studio orders another sequel. I mean, they've actually been friends since college, and they've been performing together for more than 30 years. So that is real friendship, and that's what's always been a huge part of why these movies work.
Super Troopers 3, Farva is getting married to me.
Spoiler.
Who could talk themselves out of a speeding ticket?
So I didn't actually have to say anything. I just had to smile at him. And the cop said, "Mister, do you know how fast Super Troopers?" I said, "You got me."
You beat my rook in a foot race, no ticket. Go!
Who forgets their lines the most?
Be unanimous.
Jay, it's you.
What? You have to know your lines before you can forget them. You have to learn them.
You have to know your lines before you can forget them. But my favorite was the first story there where an actual cop pulls him over and then realizes that he's the fake cop from Super Troopers and then lets him go. I mean, that is very ironic to say the least. So you believe that these characters have spent years annoying each other because the actors really have spent decades doing the exact same thing like you just saw in that clip. So you absolutely do not need to study the first two movies like there's gonna be a test before watching this third one, because the basic idea is really easy to understand. These are 5 immature state troopers who are somehow allowed to carry badges, drive police cars, and investigate real crimes. But guys, longtime fans will definitely get more out of seeing all of these characters together again and catching the callbacks to earlier movies. So if you want to see how many times you can use meow in a conversation, Super Troopers 3 is in theaters today. Meow, that's 1. Okay, I think I only did 1. I think I lost. Meow, that's 2. Okay, it's not going well for me. I'm gonna leave it to the guys there. All right, moving on. Our second scoop is taking us out of the police car and into the kitchen. But don't expect things to become any less chaotic, let me tell you, because the new A24 movie, Tony, tells a story of a 19-year-old Anthony Bourdain, long before he became the famous chef, best-selling author, and world traveler that millions of people knew from television. And that's really important to know going into this movie, because this is not the story of Bourdain at the height of his career. We are not going to be following him around the world while he eats local food and meets fascinating people and changes the way travel shows are made. No. This movie takes us all the way back to the summer when none of that had happened yet, and Bourdain still had no idea what his future would look like. So Dominic Sessa plays the young Bourdain in the film, who heads to Provincetown, Massachusetts in the 1970s. And at this point, Tony believes he's gonna become a writer. He's young, he's restless, and he's just trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life, which is probably a very relatable feeling for a lot of people. So he travels to Cape Cod, partly because he's chasing a romantic interest named Nancy, who's played by Amelia Jones, but after arriving, he stumbles into a summer job washing dishes at a busy seafood restaurant. And that may not sound like, I don't know, the beginning of a legendary career, but For Bourdain, it actually changes everything because he enters the loud, demanding, and slightly unhinged world of a professional kitchen where the hours are long, the personalities are big, and nobody has time to hold his hand. So it's a completely different environment from anything he has ever experienced before, but he slowly becomes drawn to the speed, to the pressure, and the strange sense of family among the people working there. And one of those guys working there is Antonio Banderas, who plays Ciro, the restaurant's owner and head chef, who becomes kind of like a mentor to Tony. So Ciro sees something in this inexperienced teenager, and he just begins teaching him what it actually takes to survive in a kitchen. Sounds big. Here's some of the trailer.
Are you a good guy or a bad guy?
Let me teach you this. This is how you open an oyster. I ate these in France when I was a kid. I said they taste like the future.
Every measure I got on fine with modern living.
This guy, he's like a master chef.
And the world still so wild, called to me.
So the movie is partly a biography, but it is also a coming-of-age story. It's about that one summer when a young person walks into a world that they know nothing about, and suddenly they realize that they may have found where they belong. And I like that the movie is actually called Tony rather than Anthony Bourdain, because I think this is not yet, like the polished public figure that people remember. This is just Tony. He's 19, he's unsure of himself, he's making mistakes, and he's discovering the first pieces of the person he will eventually become. Here's a little bit more on the film.
The whole movie is Anthony Bourdain from 15 to about 25, basically amalgamated to one summer of 1975, where he winds up falling in love with these role models. Yeah. Your character, who's based on a guy named Dimitri. He was like, oh, this is the coolest guy I've ever met in my life.
I thought Sal was also like sort of all the lads in the kitchen.
He is a character that represents everything that Bourdain thought was cool about Provincetown and about working in kitchens, while we can split all of the stuff that he was like, oh, it's actually hard work. I like the organization. I like all of that stuff, and have Antonio Banderas be that.
Thank God for Antonio.
He can actually cook. He can actually cook.
And Dominic Sessa, guys, is a really interesting choice for this role because he made his movie debut in The Holdovers, where he played a rebellious student who was stuck at boarding school over Christmas. I believe we actually covered it here on the show. And well, that performance earned him a lot of attention. And now he's taking on someone who already just means so much to so many people, because playing a real person is always difficult, but playing Anthony Bourdain, well, that does come with a completely different level of pressure. Because Bourdain had such a specific voice, a personality, and a way of looking at the world. I mean, he could be sarcastic and brutally honest, but he was also curious and thoughtful and really respectful of the people who welcomed him into their homes and into their communities.
Actors here who have their own history, and we let that express itself in a way that is in the context of Bourdain's life.
Bourdain means so much to people.
Anthony Bourdain's magic is that just because you are 40 years old doesn't mean your life can't begin. This is a beautiful message, and I think that even though people aren't willing to admit it, that's what they're attracted to. Because they're like, okay, so if it wasn't too late for Tony, it's not too late for me. It gives you hope.
And I mean, he was not simply just a celebrity chef. In fact, cooking eventually became only one part of what made him famous. Bourdain spent years working in New York restaurant kitchens before publishing his book, Kitchen Confidential, in 2000. And this book gave readers a very honest and an often shocking look at what happens behind the scenes in restaurants. It turned him into a best-selling author, and it opened the door to television. And he later hosted shows including No Reservations and Parts Unknown. He traveled around the world, and he used food as a way to tell much bigger stories about culture and history, politics, and the people who actually lived in the places he visited. I mean, I personally loved those shows and always had to stop and watch whenever they were on TV.
of Port-au-Prince, one of many roadside operations. Everybody's got pretty much the same thing around here, but Jean says this one's the best. Lalu, which is local for callaloo, a Caribbean green that I usually like.
Crab?
Crab.
Well, crab gives it flavor, mostly?
Yes.
Yeah.
This stuff is cooked with greens, okra, and peppers, and flavored with bits of crab and salt pork. Rice and beans? This I love any way you want to make it. And this? I'm all over it.
Then you have the pork and chicken stew. Yeah, in Creole sauce.
Yeah, that looks good.
You want it spicy with pickles?
Yeah, oh yeah, got to do the pickles, right? I'm telling you, I'm loving the rice. I'm loving the pickles. I'm loving the chicken. Lalo?
I mean, just even hearing his voice and the voiceover, it just takes me back. I watched so many of these episodes, and just hearing his voice again, it's really transporting me right now. And that's why his work just connected with so many people who may not have cared about cooking at all, because the food was often just the starting point, but the real story was always about the people and the people he was chatting with and talking to and whose homes he went into and just learned about their life.
Serious, a food publication that Saveur put Bert's on the cover. Tonight, the place happens to be choked with handsomely plus-sized online food enthusiasts shoveling their 4th and 5th flagstone-sized portions down their magnificently nerdly gullets.
We could talk about it, and we can discuss it, and
But
I think...
until we eat it, it's all meaningless blather.
Yeah.
I'm getting really hungry.
Me too. I'm starving. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
That's a thing of beauty. Yeah, that's really nice. I get it. I understand it now.
No.
My mouth is literally watering just looking at that food right now. I can understand why he's like, I'm getting really hungry. It's like, okay, we've talked enough, right? We've had all these intro talks. You guys got enough of your footage. He's watching everybody eat. You're smelling it in the restaurant. I get that feeling. Now, sadly, guys, Anthony Bourdain did die at the age, in 2018, at just the age of 61. And I mean, his death was an enormous loss to his family, his friends, and of course, his fans. So there's naturally gonna be a lot of emotion surrounding any movie about his life, but Tony doesn't try to cover every chapter or explain the entire person. Instead, it really is focusing on just one formative summer, years before the books and the television shows and all the worldwide fame. It really just gives us a look at Bourdain before he became Bourdain. And the timing of the story is interesting as well, because we usually meet famous people in movies once they're already on the road to success, and we watch them land, the big opportunity and create the thing that makes them famous or reach the moment that everybody remembers. But Bourdain's story begins with him washing dishes, and I think there's something just really fitting about that, because before the television shows and the best-selling books and the meals around the world, I mean, there was just a teenager at the bottom of the kitchen hierarchy trying to keep up and probably getting yelled at.
And it was like, one of the best experiences of my life. I kind of got to play him at an earlier point in his life. Mm-hmm. We shot a lot of the movie in Provincetown, where he spent a lot of time when he was younger, and so many people there actually had, real experiences with him and connected with him and are still there. What was most fascinating, learning about that time was he had really no interest in, being a cook and being involved in restaurants and doing that. Like he was someone that wanted to be a writer and ultimately got to do that. But it was cool to learn that, he used cooking and his experience in restaurants to ultimately do the thing that he loved in the first place, filming the movie.
So Tony, guys, opens today in select theaters before expanding to more locations later this month. It's definitely one I want to check out. All right, moving on to our final scoop today, which is easily the sweetest movie of the week, but do not let the Thin Mints fool you, because Girl Scout cookie season is serious business. The new documentary, Cookie Queens, follows 4 young Girl Scouts as they try to become top cookie sellers during one of the biggest annual fundraising traditions in the country. And when I say big, I mean an estimated 250 million boxes of Girl Scout cookies are sold every year in just about 6 weeks. 6 weeks! Creating a business worth roughly $800 million. $800 million. Whew!
Okay, Mom, we're in front of Lowe's. There are Girl Scouts. It's our first interaction of the season. We're going to practice, okay? So repeat after me. Okay. I don't want to buy any cookies, thank you.
I don't want to buy any cookies, thank you.
Okay, we got this. We got this. High five, we got this.
But at least...
Don't. Just don't.
It's just so relatable. So yeah, we may think we're simply buying a box of Samoas because we saw a table outside the grocery store like these ladies did, and suddenly we all lost self-control. But behind every box is a young girl learning how to set a goal, talk to customers, handle rejection, manage money, and convince you that you absolutely need 5 more boxes, right? We're not alone in this. Now, the documentary follows 4 girls. There's Ara, Nikki, Shannon, Elizabeth, and Olive, who range in age from 5 to 12. And each one enters cookie season with a different personality, a different sales strategy, and a very different idea of what success looks like. So 5-year-old Ara begins with a relatively modest goal of selling 55 boxes, right? Then there's 12-year-old Olive, who begins the season aiming for 5,000 boxes before eventually raising her goal to more than 10,000. 10,000 boxes, guys. I'm shook about this. I didn't know the numbers were that big, right? And I don't know what kind of sales operation she's running, but if I were launching a business tomorrow, I would immediately try to hire Olive. I don't care. I think she'd be great. And what makes the documentary interesting is that it doesn't simply just stand back and tell us how cute these girls are while they sell cookies. It actually takes their goals seriously. It shows the excitement of making a sale. It shows the disappointment of hearing no, the competition between the sellers, and the pressure that can come with trying to reach a huge number. Here's some of the trailer.
My goal is to get strong enough to pull that big wagon. Chugga, 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 chugga. I feel like everyone has like a place in the troop. We usually start with a snack and a friendship circle. I met my best friend while selling Girl Scout cookies. I want to be the top seller.
You have to beat your sisters.
According to the numbers, we're not doing so well.
We usually start with a snack and a friendship circle, and I think that's how most meetings should start. Everything's better when you start with a snack. And guys, these girls may be young, but they understand ambition. They are keeping track of their numbers. They are changing their strategies and figuring out what they need to say to make somebody stop and buy. And honestly, if you've ever tried to avoid eye contact with a Girl Scout because you already have 6 boxes at home, well, this documentary may make that a lot more difficult. Director Alyssa Namias filmed the documentary almost entirely from the girls' point of view. So there's no experts constantly appearing on screen to explain what everything means, and there are also very few archival clips. So instead, the camera just stays with the girls and allows us to see cookie season the way they experience it. And the documentary actually first premiered at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year, and Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they later joined the project as executive producers through their Archwell Productions company.
And it's such a testament to Alyssa's filmmaking and her editing because you really got to see the nuance and layers of all these young girls. They're so inspiring. You'll see when you watch. And I think for me, from the viewpoint as a mother, I find it really inspiring to continue to parent in the way that we are and to grow and develop and nurture our daughter to be a really strong young lady like these girls are as well.
This film is very personal for me as a woman entrepreneur and artist, and I see myself reflected in all of these girls so much, both their ambition and their drive and also their questioning around identity and the way the world perceives girls and women.
It is such an interesting idea because we do see these Girl Scouts all the time for years since I was a kid, right? You're always seeing them, they're always selling these cookies, and it is teaching them a lot, but there's always people that take it to the next level, and that is fascinating. And I wonder what happens to those kids later. That's what I want to see. I wonder if there's going to be like a sequel to this documentary where we can hear stories of girls from maybe, 15, 20 years ago who were crushing it at the Girl Scout Scout cookie selling game, right? They were just like Olive, who we spoke about in this movie, who was trying to reach 10,000 boxes sold. What happened to them later on? What did they go on to do? Did they go on into being in sales or into marketing? Are they executives somewhere? Like, I want to know what all of this taught them, that they, like, what it taught them, right? And how they brought that into real life later on. What happened to them? Is anybody working at the actual Girl Scout headquarters? I don't know. That's what I want to see. So maybe we'll get a sequel to this, a little follow-up. But guys, whether you are loyal to Thin Mints, Samoas, Tagalongs, or whichever box happens to be open in front of you, the cookies are really just the way into this story. Cookie Queens opens in select theaters today if you're interested. And I would say don't go into the theater hungry. Maybe stop at your grocery store first, grab some of those Girl Scout cookies, bring them into the theater, and eat them while you watch. I think that's the only way we can go about watching this documentary here. And guys, that is a look at what is new in theaters this weekend. So if you end up watching any of these movies, let me know which one you picked and whether it was actually worth the ticket. We have a little bit left of the show ahead, so stay with us. We'll be right back after this.